And we're back. Welcome to Space Arena Ground Arena, where we cover Star Wars Unlimited from the ground up into space. It's been a little bit, but the band's all back together with me, Mr. Ben, and Dan. So we'll start with Dan. Dan, how are you doing? Tell us,
Doing
what have you
marvelous.
been up to? What have you been up to
There was a
since we've
Marvel
recorded?
Champions convention last weekend, and I helped run it, so it took up my life for about 4 weeks. And I got some SWU games in still, some casual ones at the con and locally. There's another guy at my work that started playing, so we've been doing casuals at lunch. But I haven't been able to dedicate my tournament at store time because it's been frantically arranging things for that. But now that that's over, I have 11 months till I have to worry about it again. So we're back into SWU land.
Nice. And Mr. Ben, how are you doing? What have you been up to this last month?
There we go. Got the mute off. Recovery. The last we talked, I was just getting ready to go compete in jiu-jitsu again. And I won some, I lost some, and I got my arm broken at that tournament. And that's been pretty rough. I've never broke a bone before, and I'm kind of I like to do things my way. Losing my whole right arm for like a month and a half it's been wild. But I have my hands back, so I'm happy to be here, finally.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. We've all been pretty busy, so it's good to have everybody back together. I've just been doing a lot of crazy stuff with kids, 3 kids all in activities. It's like go, go, go nonstop. So, I haven't been able to make it out to the game store much, but what about you guys? Have you been gaming any SWU much lately? Or like for me, it's been mostly like Carabas. I haven't been able to get out in person.
This isn't directly SWU related, but I want to tell a pretty funny story. So a couple weeks ago, my kid was competing in a roller derby event that we had to travel for. So on the Sunday of the tournament, like they played Saturday, and then on Sunday, we had like a game at 8 o'clock in the morning and then one at like 5 p.m. So we had this big chunk of time in the middle of the day where my kid was like, "Later, Dad, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends." So I was like, "Well, I'll drive around and see what game stores there are here." And the first one I went to was like a gaming cafe place, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect. There'll be some people just grabbing games off the shelves or whatever. I'll find a game, kill a few hours. It'll be." I walk in there, and there's like a few, groups of people playing, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm only in town for a couple hours. I don't really know anybody. Just look at." Nobody even made eye contact, man. It was so brutal. It was so brutal. There's probably a dozen people in there, and nobody even looked up. And I was like, "Okay, I guess I will not get a game." So that was okay. I found another game store where there was a lot of like, gray bearded dudes, and people wanted to talk to me. So I found my people later that day, but that first experience was brutal.
It was not the board game cafe.
No, not for me.
It was just the local game store, not the friendly local game store. Yeah.
I mean, they were all like a much younger crowd, like I found the graybeard crowd where I belonged later.
Just I'm curious, what games were they playing that they couldn't give you the time of day? Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Were
I
they playing
saw
Yu-Gi-Oh?
somebody was building the Everdell thing. I've never played Everdell, but like I know the like tree or whatever it is. And that was the only game I immediately recognized. But there was a few tables of people that were clearly like making a decision what they were going to play, but they didn't want to play. And in their defense, who knows? Maybe I suck. I don't know. I could have ruined their Sunday.
Well, I'm glad you found your gray beards and you were able to get it going. Um, so what are your guys' thoughts on jump to light speed so far? Do you think it's done enough to shake up the meta? What's some stuff you've liked, you haven't liked? I will start with you, Ben.
My game time has been really weird over the recovery period. I have not been making it to the game store with one arm because that kind of whole thing kind of sucks. But playing through, internet means there were a ton of tools that my favorite kind of archetype got within this set, as well as some new problems. That new Chewbacca pilot is a real pain in the butt to deal with. But I feel like it's pretty good. Like, I don't think like the aggro decks, I don't think they're getting too out of control. I know there's kind of some player sentiment that like the decks that I like to play, the grindy kind of mill style control-y decks are not as welcome in the format, but I'm also sort of used to people always kind of having a little bit of a negative opinion about decks that draw the game out. So far, I've enjoyed this meta much more than set 3. Although I haven't been able to make it to the store.
What about you, Dan?
I've also not played in the store as much locally, but I've done a lot on travel. I went to Florida for a week and I went to Texas for a week. And for both of those, I got to find a local tournament. And I'm really liking the jump to Lightspeed meta. I'm a spaceship guy. Anything with spaceships makes me happy theme-wise, but I've been jamming a lot of Wedge and Poe and having a lot of fun with it. I've seen a lot of people having fun with Kazuda, and all sorts of decks, really. The new Thrawn is really interesting. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how pilots have gone. I don't feel like they are as much of a dud as I thought they were going to be with, upgrade removal just destroying most of them. And I think a lot of that comes to the really good design decision they had to let you play this as a unit or an upgrade. So it never becomes like a dead card in your hand. You can always just play a really big bodied vanilla. And it's made it so that those cards, at least in my casual local sphere, be able to still have spots in decks, which I really appreciate. How
That's
about you?
fair. I'm enjoying it. I like it. The decks I've been playing got better. But like I'm enjoying Cad Bane very much still enjoying Han. And then the new Thrawn has been really my jam. New Thrawn is my favorite leader from the new set. He's a lot of fun. Being able to get extra value out of sacking your own dudes is pretty fun. So
Running them with green, right?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
switched to Data Vault. I tried him with red and then I was on green, but my green version was like mainly two ofs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't very consistent. And then I'm not going to dive into the math, but running three ofs, all of those cards with a 60 card deck made it more consistent than two ofs and a 50 card deck. So
Interesting.
went to Data Vault and bumped a bunch of those two ofs to three ofs and it hums, man. It works. It goes pretty well.
I'll have to try it out.
Yeah. Um, there's a video on the channel for it too. So, the YouTube
Oh,
channel's
look at
got
that.
a deck video. So there you go. Look at that. But yeah, I like it so far. I haven't been able to, obviously no major events and with kids sports and baseball and coaching, like I don't have the bandwidth to do everything, and family first. So that's where I'm at with JTL. Anything else on Jump to Lightspeed before we move on to the next exciting topic?
I think everybody needs to play more Twin Suns. This is not Jump to Lightspeed specific, but like in general, these playmats need to see more play.
But they're
Yeah,
sick. They're sick.
I
Yeah, the
agree.
playmats are really cool, but even
Don't
without the
worry.
playmat,
You're not alone.
I've really fallen in love with the format. I didn't play Commander. Like I know Commander is like this big thing in the Magic community during my 20-year hiatus. And I really like that format. I really like Twin Suns, and I feel like Twin Suns was built kind of from the ground up to be the crazy, zany, casual multiplayer format, and it fills that role so good. I think everybody needs to play more Twin Suns, and I say that as the gross try hard control player. Like it's so good, it's so fun.
Well, let's bask in that a little bit because I agree Twin Suns is a super fun format and I agree everybody needs to play more of it. What are your favorite Twin Suns combos? What leader combinations are you brewing up to go ruin your
Oh.
friendships on a Friday night?
Well, I've been
Thrawn,
rocking
double
Thrawn
Thrawn,
since set one, of course, and now
double
I can
Thrawn.
do double Thrawns. So that's what I've been. Most of my engagement with SWU during my recovery period has been me just trying to come up with the coolest double Thrawn. I can't decide if I want green or red, or if I want to double down on one of the other two colors. I think red, that's kind of where I'm leaning now, but I've spent a ton of time just laying on the couch, like with one arm, like, oh, that's got to go into my double Thrawn deck.
I've been playing a lot of Tarkin with Garsaxon on the villainy side, because Tarkin will put the experience token out, and that counts as the upgrade for Garsaxon. So if those upgrade tokens, those experience tokens turn into +2, +1, they get real nasty. And on the heroism side, I've been doing set 1 Han and Chewie, because you can ramp to Chewie a little bit faster, and we run it in green, so we get resupply. And Chewie hitting the board in Twin Suns just changes the game. Everybody has to pivot who they're targeting and negotiate with you, and that's very fun.
Those are good ones. I've been liking like Cad Bosk and just going like full underworld and bounty hunters. So with green usually, so you get the ramp bounties out of it and you can cheat units out. Heroism, I want to try. I haven't played it yet, but I want to try like Poe Kazuda. I think that could be fun. But yeah, Twin Suns is a lot of fun. Grand Inquisitor Krennic is always fun. That's been a solid one since set one, but that one's a lot of fun. You get Grand Inquisitor to reset your dudes and they're hitting for +1 because of Krennics. That's a good one. You could just go like oops all Vaders, you know what I mean? And go Vader green and just have like all the Vaders. There's a lot of fun options with Twin Sun stuff. You can do some crazy stuff with like Anakin Chancellor Palpatine, and then you can run like villainy stuff in it too. So there's some cool stuff you can do with Twin Suns. People just need to go out and play it and have fun. Yeah. Twin Suns. All right.
Huge fan.
Next set, we're starting to see some stuff roll in from Legends of the Force. We haven't touched on any Legends of the Force stuff yet. So I figured tonight's a good night. We can talk about some cards, talk about the set so far as we've seen some stuff, but this new mechanic, the force, you can be with you, you can use it. What do you guys think about how this force mechanic seems to work? And first question, are you guys familiar with the new force mechanic? So what are your thoughts on it and how it operates?
I'm super excited about it. I like that it's thematic. I like that it's worded in a thematic way rather than a super mechanical way. And I like that now that more cards are coming out. Like I think the card Drain Essence got spoiled. It's a 2-cost Vigilance Villainy card that deals 2 damage to a unit, and then the Force is with you, so you create that Force token. At first, I was worried that the Force tokens were only going to come from locations. And if people haven't seen it yet, the way it works is certain cards will give you the Force, meaning that like you get a little Force token tucked under your base, and then different cards will spend the force. It'll say use the force, meaning you have to give up the token to get some extra bonus on the card you're playing. And some cards will have bonuses while you're holding the force. That's going to make you want to not spend it. So it's this secondary economy, and it's only an economy of 1. But that's something I really like in the other games I play. Like in Marvel Champions, I love when there's a character that has like their own economy ecosystem that you have to keep track of. And so far, this sets a little ecosystem with the Force seems right up my alley.
Yeah, and there's a common base, one for each color, that is a 20 health base and gives you the force token whenever you attack with a force unit. So even those older units like Ezra from set 1 and set 1 Luke, anything that has the force trait, when it attacks, if you're running that base, will give you the force token. And what are your thoughts on using the force in Star Wars Unlimited?
I pretty much agree with Dan's analysis. I like making choices. This is a sub-economy. Sub-economies require you to make choices. You know, the danger is if the force cards are too good and there's not enough force generation, that would not be great. And then if there's just so much force generation that you just have it at will all the time, you know, so there is a balancing act there, but I have no reason to doubt that they haven't sort of solved that balancing problem during play testing. You know, not to say they haven't let a few cards slip through here and there that needed to be adjusted, but as it being the like core tentpole gimmick of a set, I have to assume that they have this pretty well dialed in, and I like making choices. So this is cool. I like cards that make me want to keep it. I like cards that make me want to spend it. The tension between those two things. This is all design space that I think is great.
I agree. I'm excited to see what else we get with it. The next thing I want to talk about as it pertains to Legends of the Force is it's the Old Republic in Star Wars Unlimited. So when we get a look at our first Legends stuff in Star Wars Unlimited, which, you know, in Star Wars Destiny, we never got any Legends stuff. So people were like, oh, Disney, they're not going to let FFG, boom, here it is. We got Knights of the Old Republic. And so I got Revan up here, and he's got a gold bar at the bottom of his card, and that is how you know it is Legends content in Star Wars Unlimited. So KOTOR is like one of the, if not the best RPG of all time. And now we got it in Star Wars Unlimited. So I'm sure you guys are just as, if not more excited than I am. So just give me your thoughts on Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars Unlimited. Anybody?
You go first, Ben.
All right. So I was living in a pay-by-the-month motel with a friend of mine, and the only game we had while we were doing this construction work was Knights of the Old Republic. And he was playing through on the villain side, I was playing through on the hero side, and like, you know, working construction, living at a hotel in North Carolina is not like the coolest thing to be doing with your time. But man, every night we'd come home all filthy and exhausted, and we would play Knights of the Old Republic and like take turns and kind of like keep more or less even with the story, but like from both sides of it. It was awesome. No matter what choices you made, that game rewarded you. And so I told you guys before we started recording that it doesn't matter what this card does. I am just so hyped to see Knights of the Old Republic in this game in any capacity. I was definitely a naysayer who did not think it was going to show up. I am hype for this property to be here and for this to be a leader. Like, yeah, I don't even have to talk about the mechanics, and I'm gonna play this card for sure. All right, I will pass the baton.
Super excited about Legends content being in the game. We had some Legends content in the Star Wars LCG, but it was before Legends existed. I think Disney had not bought the license yet, or they had not branded things Legends. So there was a Mara Jade character early on, and then later in the game there was another Mara Jade character, but it was just called generic Sith assassin with a unique symbol, and like they clearly had red hair and were meant to be that character. So I'm excited that we're not going down that route with this game. I'm kind of surprised they have like a cosmetic difference for cards that are legends versus not legends, unless there's some intent to have like a legends format or a non-legends format or something. That was a bit shocking to me. And I definitely loved KOTR, but I also really like Star Wars The Old Republic as a total MMO degen. So seeing Jedi Counselor and things like that in here has me super hyped for what else we might get from that era in general.
Yeah, I agree. Just awesome stuff. We got HK, right? We got
Well,
HK.
we should maybe talk about the card mechanically
Oh,
too.
you want to
Not
talk
just
about
like,
Revan? We can talk about
I mean,
Revan.
I know I said I didn't care what it does, but like,
Care a little bit.
so he's a 5 flip leader. He's 3/6 with restore. When a friendly unit attacks and defeats a unit, you give an experience token to the friendly unit. On his other side, you have to exhaust him to get the experience token. So mechanically, are we as hype about this guy as we are thematically and what he means as far as legends? Dan?
I think a 5-cost force flipping unit's always a big deal in this game. I like the restore. I like the ability. We've seen experience tokens be very powerful at some point in the meta during each set's release. Tarkin had his time, Rey had her time, and I don't see this card being any different.
Yeah, I think he's got decent stats. The restore one's a nice bonus, and when you start buffing units, you just make them beefier and stronger, right? So I think it's cool. I think it's got a shot to be solid. It's interesting. It's our first single aspect leader
Yeah.
that's only villainy. So that
We didn't even remark on that, and that is remarkable too.
yeah, so that limits your deck building a little bit, but
The
it's got
ability must be strong, right?
yeah, and we've already seen some cards that synergize with him. So I think we'll find a spot.
And when it was first spoiled, I was wondering if I was going to try to run this with overwhelm units so that when they get the experience, I'm still pushing a little bit of damage to base. Because if you're attacking and defeating something, that means you might be taking damage back. So the XP token might not be as helpful. But I tried to deck out with a bunch of shielded units, and that worked really well too. I would trade in with shielded units and then make the shielded units bigger, plus all the cards that they've already spoiled that synergize with him. It seems great.
Anything else you want to say about Revan?
I'm gonna play this dude.
Yeah.
This is a card that's gonna make me play units again.
Gross. HK-47, everyone's favorite KOTOR droid assassin, friend of the show. I got my local SAGA teammate Sam, 3-time PQ winner, says HK-47 automatically becomes the best 2-drop in the game when he comes out. Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on the
Yeah,
meatbag
I mean,
exterminator?
for the decks that want this kind of effect, I can't immediately think of another 2-drop that is, the aggressively slanted and still like with a 4 butt, this guy's going to be sticky. He's probably going to kill 2 things. So 2 removals plus 2 damage to base for a 2 cost. Yeah, I'll take that all day long. Yeah, I agree with that analysis.
And with Revan, he's getting buffed.
Yeah, so maybe even 3 things.
It's insane. And I mean, I could even see running this in a Mr. Ben style control deck, right? Later on in the game, you plop this guy down and protect him, and every time you remove something, you also get to ping base. I don't mind at all. We have to mill a lot less at the end of the game if they're already at 15 health. So I think he looks great. He looks strong.
I'd even considered running him in like CAD, even though he's not Underworld, just because CAD's really more of a control deck than anything else. So he really wants to control the units on the board and remove them, right, with pings and ambush and stuff. So being able to get extra damage on base out off of like a clunky or something seems pretty solid.
Is this our first like legendary 2-drop unit? Like usually the legendaries are sort of endgame units that we've seen in the past, or has there been other ones
So
like this?
This might be.
if he gets killed at the same time that the enemy units get killed, is his thing gonna see that like Aiden and be able to do the healing, or does he miss out on it because he died too?
It
I'm not
doesn't
sure on the
say
timing there.
it doesn't say when he completes an attack, which when he completes an attack you would have to survive it. So I think
Yeah.
this would trigger regardless, as
Does it
long as
So
that
depend
if you
on
had
enemy
some
unit.
kind of
priority or no?
I think it would happen simultaneously.
And that's cool in two ways, because you could play this as sort of a deterrent. Like if if your opponent's going to try to kill a bunch of things, you could throw some damage at them. I think it's less effective that way. But, if this is in your deck that has that board wipe spell and you kill a bunch of your opponent's things off their swarm deck and then just finish, like, that sounds pretty odd. Oh, you got 5 units to play? Sweet. I'll finish you with lethal damage by wiping your board. That's exactly the sort of thing I would want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably need clarification, but I would imagine since it doesn't say when an enemy unit, like when this unit completes an attack, right? Like Ezra has to survive to look at the top card of that deck when he attacks.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure HK, it would just trigger.
Yeah. So it's phrased exactly the same as Aiden, and I know Aiden works that way. So when an enemy unit is defeated, heal. So even if Aiden gets killed in it, yeah, so that definitely will work. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to play this guy too.
I'm excited for him. He's pretty cool. Another KOTOR card we got to see, really the big bad of the game, right? Darth Malik. This is pretty wild that he can come in ready as a 5-cost 4/7 with Overwhelm, right? If you're playing Revan. And it's just a Sith leader, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be Revan. Any leader that's Sith, if you have out there when Malik's played, is going to come in ready.
It is a leader unit, so they have to be deployed at least. So there's a little bit of playability around it, but still super strong and playable in all aspects, which is crazy.
What are your thoughts on Malik, Mr. Ben?
We should have done this in the opposite order, because like he's cool and all, but compared to the last two cards, I'm like 60% as excited as I was looking at the previous couple ones. He's cool, being able to drop into play, ready, attack and kill something with Overwhelm, decent stat line for 5. Yeah, there's nothing here. He does have somewhat limited playability. You're not going to put this guy into a deck where you don't get his win played. As a 4/7 Overwhelm, that's probably not good enough for your deck. But for the decks where he's intended to fit, yeah, he's going to be cool. He's not like best in class like the last guy we looked at, but he's good.
Yeah. Anything else on Malik? There's another property that it's in the Star Wars universe, but it is canon. The Star Wars Jedi games. Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Cal Kestis. This is the ship, Stinger Mantis from those games. So it looks like we're getting some Jedi Fallen Order stuff. Have you guys played those games? What are your thoughts on those characters or stuff, other stuff we could see from those in this game?
Mr. Ben first.
I haven't played those games, so I don't have some passionate anecdote from my past about how I have a deep connection with them. They seem cool, like nothing against those games. I'm just a busy guy these days. I'm glad to see it. I think this is really cool to have the legend stuff in the game, but bring it all. Give me all the, maybe not the Star Wars Christmas special, but give me everything else. You know what I mean?
I'm here for the Christmas special. I like all Star Wars, even Young Jedi Knights. So I buy all these games, but also as a busy adult, don't play them, and then I watch other people play them on YouTube. So I
Brutal.
own this game, and someday I'll play it, but probably not until after it's not supported anymore. So I'm excited to see any bit of Star Wars captured in, because every bit is a different person's favorite part. So it's
100%.
cool that those people get their favorite thing in the game.
Well, I'll just say both those games are really, really good. So I hope to see Cal Kestis. And we did see BD1 in the new Compact.
Compact.
So we know BD's coming. So I want to see what Cal Kestis does. And we saw Marin, which is also from those games. So yeah, excited for all this new stuff coming. What's a card Mr. Ben, that's been revealed that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about already?
To continue my trend of apparently becoming a filthy casual, the new Darth Maul leader. Uh, Again, I kind of don't even care what he does. I like the art so much that it makes me want to play with that card. Like it's that classic. Like I remember waiting in line to see this movie and then convincing myself that it was like worth waiting in line as long as I did to see this movie. It was just such a cool moment. I guess we should talk about what he does. So for an action, you exhaust and you use your force token, deal 1 damage to a unit and 1 damage to a different unit. So this is what you would expect from a Sith aggressively tilted type leader. So it does have a relevant ability, but that's not why I'm excited to play this guy. It's like I see this art and I can hear the music playing in my head every time. I love it. It's like so deeply ingrained. So I'm super hyped for this. He flips on 6. He's a 5/6, and on attack, he does his same thing, 1 damage to a unit and a damage to a different unit. So as far as the abilities go, sure, it's maybe a little slow flip for an aggro slanted leader, but again, I'm gonna play this dude for sure.
Leader-wise, I'm really excited for Kanan. He has some synergy with the Spectre trait and the Creature trait, which seems like it's a big focus this set as well. And in general, I am just a tribal junkie. So you give me something that's a janky tribal deck that I can run aggro, and I'll find a way to take it face. Also, I really like the tags on the deployed side, or the traits on the deployed side of Kanan. You get Force, you get Jedi, you get Rebel, you get Spectre. It's like take all the good things that Heroism has and slap them on a unit, except Clone, and you got them right here. So I think that leads to a lot of different ways that you can build this deck, which I think will be pretty cool.
And dude's a 5/8 if you build your deck right.
Yeah, that too. 5/8 on turn 6, I don't mind
With
it.
a shield. 5/8 with a shield. It's insane.
I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah, Chungus for sure. That's a big booty.
Yeah, and he has other support too, right? Like the new Ezra.
Yeah, the new
On
Ezra
attack,
looks
you can
great.
buff him. So it's like I like this art of Ezra a lot. Number one, because they always screw up his face, so him wearing a helmet. His face,
Face
like
Aladdin. Got a helmet on this time.
yeah, and they got the Purgles in the background. No, seriously, like if you go look up Star Wars Destiny
What's
Ezra
bad?
art, it is bad. Like
It was bad in Imperial Assault too, don't worry.
well, it's the same art probably,
I think
right?
so.
Yeah, it is rough, dude. So Ezra, they always jacked up his face. So
The other thing, oh, you go first. What leader are you excited about, Banana?
real quick, a little side note: whenever I see an Ezra Bridger card, I always make like a Jabba the Hutt comment because, like in Rebels, he says he's
Yes.
Jabba the Hutt, and then I always tag. So the actor that played Ezra in the Ahsoka show has like liked and retweeted some of our Saga tweets because I like Adam talking about like Jabba the Hutt and stuff. So
Amazing.
every time I hit him up, but yeah,
We need
You're
to
not
get him
wrong
to play
about
Twin
these
Sons
Ezra
with us.
face. These Ezra faces are not very flattering drawings.
they're not good. No. Well, man, I think there's only like one other leader that we've had revealed so far, right? Three others. So there's Obi-Wan,
An Inquisitor, and Qui-Gon.
third sister, probably Qui-Gon, just because he does the most different thing. Let me bring him up. So Qui-Gon, use the Force token, and you can return a friendly non-leader unit to its owner's hand. And then you can play a non-villainy card unit that costs less than a returned unit from your hand for free. Pretty cool. There's some cool combos you could set up with that. You can use it to heal some units. I think it has potential to be pretty cool. And then he deploys on 6 and he's a 4/7. That's the wrong image. And he has the same thing when he completes and survives. So when I just got to show it. That would make it easier. He has to complete his attack, so he has to live the attack. And then same thing, you return a friendly non-leader unit and then play a non-villain unit that costs less from your hand for free. So,
Totally fits in yellow. Makes a lot of sense. It feels a lot like the they really hate that ship, and now there are two of them event kind of combo-y decks, but it's built right into your leader, and you don't get to jump up the curve. But yeah, like you said, you can heal things, you can exchange one thing for like a better thing based on the board state. I've seen some people trying to like sort of like get to a Starhawk early by using shenanigans and things like that. So I think it seems pretty fun. I like that you can switch between like vehicle and sort of character units too. In the past, it's always been like a non-vehicle for a non-vehicle or a vehicle for a vehicle. But here, we could take a Luke Skywalker on the ground and then be like, actually, I needed a space unit. Let me fix that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that also another thing is like is your own way to remove bounties off of your units if Bosk is still around. By God. Of the 3 I had left available to me, he's probably the one I'm most excited about.
We took the exciting ones.
You guys took the exciting. Obi-Wan's cool too, but Qui-Gon's just does a new thing, a little more different. We've seen leaders give experience tokens to other units before. So, what about a non-leader card? What do you got for a non-leader card you're excited about or want to talk about?
Well,
Dan or Ben?
I will swing back to my more traditional proclivities and bring up Liberated by Darkness. Blue has a whole lot of pay 5, make a problem, go away cards. I love seeing Cunning get a pay 5, make a problem, go away card. It does also require the use of the Force. So this might not be as good as like your Vanquish or whatever, but the idea that you could pay 5, take your opponent's dude, and then use his dude to kill something else. So now I'm solving 2 problems with my 5 resource points that would have gone to, a Vanquish or a no glory only results or whatever. 5 cost removals are great. I love them. I love seeing yellow get stuff that I like to do. So I'm hyped for this card.
It seems very strong. And I think Palpatine, like a Palpatine yellow deck, would really like it.
For myself, 2 things on the other cards. I really like the hidden mechanic. I think the hidden mechanic is pretty cool. I don't know if we've talked about that before, but hidden's a new sort of keyword where when this unit is played, it can't be attacked it can't be attacked if it was played this phase. So there's like, I think there's a 4/1 2-drop that can't be attacked the phase it was played. It can still be damaged by events and by like on attack abilities and things like that. But just a little thing to help those characters survive. But the cards I'm most excited about is we're getting a lot of search and a lot of not like direct tutoring, but Owen Lars is a 1 cost. And this works dark side or light side because it's just a vigilance unit that's a 0/3 with restore 2. So he's your classic moisture farmer with a smaller butt. But when defeated, search the top 5 cards of your deck for a force unit. That's super cool. I really like being able to replace the cards that are being defeated. And there's all sorts of cards that have been sort of search for a thing and do a thing. I think there's Sifo-Dyas and there's Luthen. So I really like Owen Lars. I don't think he's a game breaker or anything, but I think he's going to be really cool for those force tribal decks that really want to make sure they get to a force unit early, so they might have to play a unit they're willing to sacrifice.
Makes sense. You mentioned the card that I was going to bring up, so.
Oh, do it.
Sifo-Dyas, the most confusing character, I think, in Star Wars canon, because it's like, did he make the clone army? Or, like, I thought it was Dooku. I thought it was Palpatine. Like, people are very confused, generally, about the Sifo-Dyas character. And when you tell them, well, you got to read this book and watch this episode of Clone Wars and this episode of Rebels, right? When you tell people got to do all this other stuff, like, I'm out. So, but Sifo-Dyas as a card, right? 4/4, when defeated, search the top 8 cards of your deck for any number of clone units with a combined cost 4 or less and discard them. And then for this phase, you can play him from your discard pile for free. So he's like a bigger Cop Vanth, looking specifically for clones. And the idea that I have for him is it's a way that I can get tech to work in New Thrawn. So I can search the top 16 cards of my deck in a Data Vault deck to find a heroism card in tech that I can play for free to allow me to smuggle more stuff and play more cards. That's where I'm looking to play this right now, is in New Thrawn.
I hope we get clones in this set because he's kind of weird and limited that we haven't seen any clones yet. So it's nice they're supporting old traits and stuff, but I thought he was a little weirdly placed.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a Jedi, right? He's got the Force.
Got the Force tag. It's good enough.
He
He's
was
the
still
name of the
alive
set.
here. He was still alive here. He wasn't blown up yet.
Not every card has to be good and limited either.
Doesn't have to be good.
it's
I just
okay
want it to be like functional.
Sure.
We'll see.
There's got to be some like token generators or something. I guess that wouldn't help though, because his thing keys off having to come out of your deck. Yeah, that's not going to get him there.
TBD. I could be wrong. We'll see.
You know, I remember with old verses, they would occasionally like you'd have your whole set, and then there'd be just this like one-off card that was affiliated with the team from 3 sets ago that like plugged a hole in that team, and it was just a complete dud if that was your rare in a limited environment, but like you really needed it if you wanted to play that other team and construct it. I could see that being what's happening here.
You guys got anything else on Legends of the Force? You good?
I'm excited. New mechanics look great. Can't wait.
Yeah. All right.
I'd be surprised. Well, I mean, Star Wars fans never fail to live down to people's expectations, but I'd be surprised if anybody had a negative feeling on like bringing Legend stuff into the game. I think like Kennedy said, everything is somebody's favorite Star Wars experience. Like, let's get it all in here.
The internet loves to hate things. That's what I
Yeah,
have
there's
learned.
probably somebody out there who
As a
hates
Marvel
it.
Champions player, everybody's someone's favorite, and everybody wishes something didn't exist. So I'm sure there will be people, but hopefully it's the minority. I think it's great. The more Star Wars, the better.
Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. So
true.
Yeah.
I'm ready for like, I don't know. I want to see like The Stranger and like the stuff from Acolyte and like High Republic stuff.
I'd be in.
But yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you guys, not SWU related, but it is Star Wars related, is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Did you guys go see it in the theater?
Absolutely. It was great.
I went and saw it. Yeah.
I went and saw it. The kids came. They loved it. It was tragic. They were traumatized, just like we all were.
Yeah.
I wanted to go, so we said sure.
Awesome. My 9 and 7-year-old have been watching Rebels. So that's been cool to go through that with them. And like we just watched the episode in season 1 today where like Ezra like talks to like Yoda like through the Force like in the 10th Long Lothal, and they were like, "What? He built a lightsaber? Like, what is that?" Like it was just they're just like excitement towards it. It's pretty cool. So I'm digging it. Then Maul's gonna come in and wreck their dreams.
That's a later problem.
All right. Well, I think that was it for us for tonight. So do you guys have any last words, any parting thoughts for the Star Wars Unlimited community?
Enjoy your spaceships
good to be
before
back.
the Force comes.
Good to see everybody. I hope I can remain injury free for a while this year.
Yeah.
Actually be able to hang out with you guys a little more.
Well, I mean, life comes first, right? So that's fine. You got anything else, Dan?
Wow, that's it.
That's it. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the arenas.